Broadcasting live from the Garden State, it's Real Sports Talk with Kenny Kluska on the Damage 365 Radio Network.
Welcome, everyone, to episode number 69 of Real Sports Talk with Kenny Kluska. Of course, I'm your host, Kenny Kluska, here for another exciting episode, bringing you what is going on in sports. If you could tell by the name of my show today, that's what I'll be talking about. That will be after the commercial break. We'll start off today's show with the WWE pay-per-view that will be taking part tonight. Extreme Rules, right around the block from me in Newark. 10-minute train ride from me. Maybe I should have tried to get tickets. I didn't. But, it's still a pretty strong card. Looks like it has a potential to be a very good pay-per-view. So let's hope for the best. Let's go over the card real quick. The pre-show match is Baron Corbin versus Dolph Ziggler in a no DQ match. My prediction is Corbin will win. Just got called up to the main roster not too long ago. Dolph Ziggler, unfortunately, his role has seemed to be to put younger talent over. Corbin will get the win. The rest of the card, we have the Usos versus the Club, Anderson and Gallows. I believe Anderson and Gallows will prevail. We got a fatal four-way for the Intercontinental Championship. The champion Miz versus three challengers, Sami Zayn, Cesaro, and Owens. This is a tough one to call. To me, at least, Miz has been such an amazing heel over the past month or two, especially with the re-addition of Maurice, his wife, back in the picture. He's played the perfect heel role, where pretty much the whole crowd boos him. That's something you don't see too often. Even, guys you may think are good heels, such as an Owens, such as a Chris Jericho, they still get some cheers. Miz legitimately gets booed by everyone. That's why he's the perfect heel. You really haven't seen that since, Vicky Guerrero, to be honest. And then you could say a guy like Owens has a chance to win because, then he could feud with Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship title over the next couple months. And Cesaro, of course, one of the best, if not the strongest pound-for-pound wrestler in the WWE, just is such a phenomenal athlete inside the ring. This is a tough one to predict. I'm going to say Miz retains, though, but, with just not an easy match to predict. We will see what happens. Should be a good one, though. Then we got the tag team title match. The challengers, the Vaudevillains, taking on the champion New Day. For one, I'm actually a big Vaudevillains fan. I find them funny. Of course, pretty much everyone finds the New Day funny. They've had the titles for a long time. Some would say that they don't need the titles to be successful. They're pretty over, where the titles aren't necessarily, something that needs to be on them. But I'm going to say they retain. New Day holds on. We got the first ever Asylum match between Dean Ambrose and Chris Jericho. I believe Jericho's role in this match is to help put Ambrose over. Ambrose is the one that created this match. It will be the first ever Asylum match, so you don't really expect them to lose. Ambrose will win. We got a submission match for the women's title, the champion Charlotte versus the challenger Natalya. Of course, we had the Screwjob last pay-per-view where Natalya didn't seem to tap out. Referee rang the bell. Charles Robinson. Charlotte retained. This match, Ric Flair is not allowed at ringside. If he even approaches the ring, Charlotte will lose the title. I just don't see them putting the women's title on Natalya, though. I believe Charlotte retains. We got the U.S. title match between the champion Kalisto and the challenger Rusev. Rusev has looked dominant as of late. I believe he continues that dominance and regains a title that was once his, U.S. title. He just may be keeping it warm for when John Cena returns, though. John Cena returning Memorial Day, so 8 days from now on that Monday Night Raw. Then we got the main event, the world title match between champion Roman Reigns and the challenger AJ Styles. Tough match to call, Extreme Rules. Just don't think AJ Styles is going to get the belt on him. I'm not sure how Reigns will pull it out. I'm really, really hoping that the club, the Bullet Club, whatever you want to call them, Anderson and Gallows do not turn on Styles. I think that would be the incorrect call by the WWE to have that happen. We will see, though. I'm not a Reigns guy. I'm kind of sick of hearing him say, I'm not a bad guy. I'm not a good guy. I'm the guy. We get it. Anyhow, Reigns retains. Seth Rollins returning soon. That will, most likely pit a Reigns versus Rollins rivalry, once Rollins does return. So, let's hope for a good pay-per-view tonight. I believe the pre-show starts at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, so just a couple hours from now, the actual pay-per-view will begin at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Also tonight, same time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, we got Game 3 of the Western Conference Finals in the NBA between the Golden State Warriors and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, the Thunder had a surprising Game 1 where Kevin Durant shot 10 of 30, Russell Westbrook 7 of 21, so a combined 17 of 51 for their two superstars. Yet they won in Golden State, a place that Golden State had lost only once the entire season. So that was pretty surprising, especially when their two superstars have such poor shooting outings. Game 2, Warriors pretty much never really gave the Thunder much of a chance, blowing them out. So next two games will be taking place in Oklahoma City. Thunder would love to get both of them, have a 3-1 lead. Of course, that's not easy when you're playing a team who broke the record for best record in a season at 73-9. Steph Curry did bang his elbow, said it was the size of a tennis ball. But Steve Kerr did come out and say today that it really didn't affect his shooting. So we'll see if that will play any bit of a role in tonight's game. Definitely a big game for both teams. A 2-1 lead is very crucial. I don't have the exact number in front of me, but, I know a large amount of teams that go up 2-1 end up taking the series. Cleveland was looking for pretty much an insurmountable 3-0 lead last night over the Toronto Raptors. Cleveland handily defeated the Raptors both games in Cleveland. But Toronto came to play yesterday, defeating the Cavaliers. DeMar DeRozan, I believe, had 31 points, and Bismack Biyombo, what a game from him. Of course, Raptors are without their starting center, Jonas Valanciunas. Bismack Biyombo has taken his place. Only grabbed 26 rebounds yesterday, looking like Wilt Chamberlain, Wes Unseld in their primes. What a performance on the glass for Biyombo. Even did a little Dikembe Mutombo finger wag. He said that Mutombo gave him permission to use it. He did use it, and, quite reminiscent of those days of Mutombo swatting, all those opponents throughout his years in the NBA. So Game 4 will be tomorrow. Toronto looking to even the series. Cleveland goes up 3-1 though, with two of the remaining possible 3 games in Cleveland. That's highly unlikely that Toronto would be able to come back from that. So definitely a crucial game for the Raptors tomorrow. A couple coaching hires I want to speak on. Anyone who actually knows me knows how much of a die-hard Knicks fan I am. The struggles throughout all these years. For many weeks, it looked like Kurt Rambis would remain as the head coach. Kurt Rambis became the interim head coach when they fired Derek Fisher about midway into last season. So, they really didn't improve at all under Rambis, but with Phil Jackson being so adamant and seeming to be so stubborn with keeping the triangle offense in effect, many believed that Rambis would remain the head coach and basically be Phil Jackson's puppet, since he knows the triangle, and, basically it would be Phil Jackson using his coaching methods, from the stands via Kurt Rambis. But, that did not happen. Instead, they went a totally different direction when, going with a coach who really has no triangle experience. Jeff Hornacek, formerly head coach of the Phoenix Suns, was hired to become the Knicks' new head coach. My opinion of it, I love it. He's a fast tempo guy, a guy who likes shooting 3-pointers, and, even if you're not necessarily a fan of that type of game, that's really what the NBA has evolved into, more of a fast-paced game, people realizing the 3-pointer is a better shot than, say 18 to 20 foot 2-pointer. So of course 3-pointers are, just becoming so much more a part of the game. I believe it's a good hire. Carmelo Anthony was on Bruce Beck yesterday and basically said he loves the hire. A lot of the players will love the hire. Believe an important part will be getting a point guard who could run that style of offense. So, of course, their incumbent starter, Jose Calderon, not necessarily the guy who can run an up-tempo offense at his advanced age. They did sign Tony Roten during last season, with this season in mind. So, he has his flaws, but he is able to run. So, we'll see if he'll get a crack to start at point guard. Jerrion Grant, started showing some improvement towards the end of last year, which was his rookie season. A bunch of free agents out there as well. We'll see. They have been linked to possibly going after Mike Conley. We'll see what happens with that. But for one, I like the hire. There was one coach I really wanted more than him. That's Frank Vogel. And Frank Vogel was the coach who ended up signing with the Orlando Magic after Scott Skiles surprisingly stepped down from his post as the head coach of the Orlando Magic. The Magic went in and swiped up Vogel, formerly the Indiana Pacers. I believe he kind of got screwed by the Indiana Pacers. I don't really fully believe that he deserved to lose his job. Always seemed to make the Pacers overachieve. You look at their team this year, did they really have much scoring outside of Paul George? Monta Ellis was a bit of a disappointment in his first season with the Pacers after 2 strong seasons with the Dallas Mavericks. So, I don't believe Vogel really he really shouldn't have gotten canned, in my opinion. Nate McMillan is their new coach. Not a bad coach. Didn't necessarily succeed, though, in Portland. So I don't know if I agree with going from Vogel to McMillan. We'll see, though. But I believe 2 great hires by teams needing coaches, the Knicks and the Magic. 2 teams that could be, they've missed the playoffs for the past few years. Magic have a ton of young talent. Knicks have Anthony and, runner-up for Rookie of the Year, Kristaps Porzingis. So, the talent's there on both teams. Free agency will be key for both teams. But I believe that they both made good choices in their coaching hires. So, we're going to take a short commercial break, and as I mentioned, if you look at the name of the show, you should be able to tell what I will speak about once the commercial break is over.
Following announcement has been paid for by the New World Order. Hello, this is the Intrepid Traveler.